What's the best prank you've ever heard of /seen/experienced? When I was in high school, my sister used to set her alarm for 6 a.m. to get up and ready. One morning I had a brilliant idea and set my alarm for 5:45. I snuck into her room, jumped into her closet and waited for her alarm to go off. She wound up snoozing her alarm. I wound up falling asleep in her closet waiting. When she woke up at 7 to get dressed an hour later, she found her brother asleep in her closet. Definitely scared her, but didn't work as well as I hoped. No one knows for sure, but rumor had it that it was the chess club. That autumn of the senior year, someone wrote the principal's name is N.A. in grass seed across the berm on the other side of the school grounds. The next spring, when the grass was long, you could make it out of someone showed you and you were looking for it. It was plain as day when the grass was freshly cut. Did this to a guy at work. Bowling league. Wasn't familiar. He threw 3 strikes in a row. When the monitor flashed a turkey, he asked what it meant. We told him to go to the main counter because he just won a coupon for a free turkey. The staff had a blast with that one. While traveling up the west coast of America, we stopped in this small town for one night. When we went out early that evening, walking through town, we saw this $5 bill fluttered ahead of us down the street, always just out of reach. We quickly realized a couple of kids were literally doing the dollar bill on the fishing line prank. They were laughing and having the best time. It was such a goddamn pure and wholesome sight that my heart grew 3 sizes. While working at a gas station, I came across one of those ads that looks like a $100 dollar bill until you open it. I'd drop it at the bottom of the counter out of sight to me by where customers' feet would be and just wait. Some people didn't notice it, some people would pick it up and inform me about it, and some people would try to be super sneaky about it. In all honesty, had someone found a real hundo on the floor like that and handed it to me, I'd have told them to come back in 3 days, and if no one had claimed it, it's theirs. It amazed me that some of the people you'd never expect tried to be sneaky and weasel it into their pocket, and some people you would expect to weasel it into their pocket ended up telling me someone dropped some money and handed me the bill. As soon as most people handed it to me, I'd tell them it was fake and just drop it at their feet to see how the next victim would react. We had an it guy at work that could not keep a secret. He was famous for it. It earned him the nickname Loose Lips. Anyway, one day my boss security did not come in because of another obligation. Loose Lips, who worked constantly on our high-tech security system, asked where he was, and my work partner, in a moment of inspiration, said, "I can't tell you." Loose Lips became excited and begged. Finally, partner caved and swore Loose Lips to secrecy. Then told him our supervisor was on his way to Moncton to collect the $10 million he won the night before in a lottery. Absolute BS. We had a great time using our security cameras tracking him going from cubicle to cubicle. From building to building, we kept our supervisor informed by text of the developments. He was amused to say the least, but mid-afternoon we got a text from him. Loose Lips knows. I just texted him instead of you by mistake. Sure enough, the cameras revealed a fuming Loose Lips stomping towards the security building. He charged in, swore at us, he was not a happy camper. But wait, my partner said we swore you to secrecy. Who did you tell? Loose Lips, shoulders sagged. I told everybody, he moaned. Well, now you had better go tell them all the truth. Yeah, I guess, much hilarity watching him retrace his steps. The great thing is the gag depended on his own character fault to be successful, and it was a great success. BTW, he didn't improve. When I was at the office, someone connected a Bluetooth mouse to someone's computer and put the mouse next to the office printer. Lol, everyone was in on it, just a casual nudge of the mouse as we walked by here and there. As time progressed, he got a new mouse thinking his was broken. You should have seen his reaction when someone nudged the wireless again. It was priceless, lol. It went on for a good 2 months before he realized. My teen son slipped a and we bored into the pillowcase of my super religious aunt. She found it about 3 a.m. after a long work shift as she was getting ready for bed, flipped her gut-hearing shit and called me screaming bloody murder. She and her kids were so much fun to prank, they always fell for it and they always blamed the devil. I was skateboarding down the street a few years ago when I noticed in the distance some young kids doing the invisible rope across the road to stop the car trick. With this knowledge I decided to play along, so I skated as fast as I could, and when they pulled the imaginary rope across the road I cracked a high ollie over it. They just cheered. I made their day. This one was great because I didn't even expect anything to come of it. When I was in college I dressed up as a 1980s business guy for Halloween. I had a White Castle crave case I painted black and I made a big cell phone out of cardboard. Anyway, one of the other accessories I had for my costume were these business cards I printed out at the library. All they said was Edgar on the front, and my plan was to hand them out to people and say, "Let's do business later." However, I decided to have two different card sets, and on some of them I wrote my friend's phone number, who was going to another college out of state. The plan was to hand the ones with the phone number to people I didn't know and the other to people I did. The night goes on and I'm having a blast playing into this character and handing out my cards to everyone. The next day I wake up and find a text from my friend saying, "What the hell did you do? I have like a dozen messages from drunk people looking for you." I explained what I did and he thought it was funny. We were both honestly surprised that people actually called. I totally expected them to be tossed. Telling this doesn't do it justice, but at the firehouse, one of our buddies on the unit traded to the next day. That next day, he walked into his dorm during the break to see that it was 100% completely empty, with a note stabbed into the wall with a knife. The note was the first of many clues planted throughout and outside the station. I wish I could remember them, but I wrote them myself. In a bit of a creative writer, and they were all rhyming, somewhat old English style riddles that were a huge hit every time. In the end, it led him to all of the shit in his dorm set up on the roof exactly as it was in his dorm bed, nightstand, functioning lamps, TV, etc. He slept there in good spirit. Dorky, maybe, but it took a lot of effort and had a huge payoff for all of us. My senior year of high school, I knew it would be my last April Fools at my parents' house, so the day before, they were gone for a couple hours and I printed out 200 pictures of Nicolas Cage. I hid them in ridiculous places. The storage closet, crawl spaces, books in the pantry, etc. 5 years later and they are still finding them. A former roommate of mine made fun of the fact that I went to UC Davis, a college known for its many cows on campus. For 7 months I kept inserting the word "moo" into our conversations and adamantly denying it whenever he would call me out on my strange behavior. On April Fool's Day, I told my story to my college's Facebook group, resulting in him receiving thousands of texts saying that day, "Moo bitch, get out the way." Alright, so we have a painting that floats around the house. People take turns sticking it in weird spots to freak people out. So I go to bed one night and someone puts it at the foot of my bed. The door closing wakes me up, and I can only make out a face in the darkness. I spent a minute trembling under the covers before I realized what happened. When I was in high school I was on the wrestling team. There was a guy on the team named Don. I went up to a couple of other teammates during the wrestling meet and told them that Don said that coach was looking for you, so throughout the meet, my teammates were going up to the coach and saying Don said you were looking for me, and I would watch his reactions on confusion and annoyance. If I remember correctly, he confronted Don and Don had no clue what he was talking about. I ended up not participating in wrestling my junior and senior year. I went to a wrestling match my senior year and told a wrestler I knew that Don, who was still on the team, said that coach was looking for you, so the guy goes up to the coach and says Don said you were looking for me, and in the corner of my eye I see my coach burst out in laughter. His reaction made me happy because he remembered the joke I played 2 years ago. I went up to him afterwards and said that I started the prank/joke and he thought it was hilarious. This isn't my story told to me by my dad, who has worked around construction his whole life. On a job site, one of the plumbing supervisors was getting annoyed by the drywall contractors. One night after the drywall guys go home, the supervisor shit in a bucket of drywall mud and mixed it in well enough to not be noticed. The drywall guys later used that mud to finish the wall. When they went to sand it, the shit was released, not only making the room smell like death, but now the contractors are covered in the shit dust. I don't know how the story ended, but I guess the plumbers felt this was a victory. My girlfriend decided to prank her mom on April Fools with a very elaborate pregnancy prank. She spent the week leading up to the prank eating much more than usual and being very vocal about how she'd been very hungry as of late, and a precursor to make it more believable. On the day, she started by giving her a "Congrats Grandma" card and her mom laughed it off. She then started leaving small hints here and there, like open tabs of baby names on the family computer. It culminated when her mom got ready to make dinner and opened the oven to find a bread roll in it. Her mom just blew up and started getting mad at her for getting pregnant. She was 18 when she made this prank and told her that she would have to break up with me because she didn't want to bring any kind of bad reputation to my family. I thought it was hilarious.